Okay, so I'll be showing you how to export and import MetaHuman into the Unreal Engine. And so first you would, if you don't have Unreal Engine, I would download the Epic Games launcher, and I would also download Quixel Bridge, and I'll have both links on the description below. And once you click those two, just install it right here. Okay, once you have it installed, just go into the Epic Games launcher, and I would recommend creating an Epic Games account and then just signing in. As well as for Quixel Bridge, just make sure you click the sign in on the top right and click sign in with Epic Games. And one thing to mention is if you can't find the Quixel Bridge, you wouldn't want to search Quixel because it's actually just called Bridge. So if for some reason you can't find it, just search up Bridge. Okay, now that you are signed into the Epic Games launcher, just navigate your way through Unreal Engine. Okay, and then you want to go to Library. And then so the one that you should download is 4.26.2. I have it already downloaded, but if you can't find or don't know how to add it, you would click this plus button. Mine doesn't have it, I'm assuming, because I have all these downloads here, but you would click the plus button, and then it will have this grayed out Unreal version, and then you would just click it and then scroll through the version that you want. And it's most likely the latest. There is 4.27, but it's just a preview. So I would download 4.26.2, this one over here. And you might even see Unreal Engine 5.0 early access. So make sure you have this one. It can work with other ones, but with the MetaHuman documentation, it recommends using this version. So make sure you download this, and then it will have a download here, and it'll have this section where it says verifying, and that might take a while. So just make sure you let it load. Okay, now that you have version 4.26 downloaded, just click launch. Oh, it closed. So just click launch, and then it should load this right here, and it might take a couple minutes. Once 4.26 is downloaded, we'll go with film, television, and live events. These two mainly, it's just certain plugins get enabled, but we'll just do film, television, and live events. Click next, and usually I like to do a blank canvas, but we could just put virtual production, and these templates just add folders into your project. But you can, let's say you click on blank, you could add the folders later on, but we'll just click virtual production. And then we will call it, so mine is on the D drive. It's for yours, it will most likely default on the C drive, documents, Unreal project, and that's fine. So I'll just call it recording MetaHuman. And just click create. And for this part, it will take a while. It might even take like 15 to 30 minutes to load this whole thing, because it's just like compiling shaders. The film and television category does take a while. So if your computer can't handle it, I would probably just go to the games category and make it a blank template. But for now, we'll just have it as the film template. And just let it load It'll probably take a while. Okay, now that we have it loaded, Well, actually, first, one thing to mention is once you open this project again a second time, it won't load as long. Usually it's just the first time. And then these were the folders I was talking about that's already implemented in if you choose a template. So there's a couple things here that I'm not too aware of, but we'll minimize this for now. And now we'll go into Quixel Bridge and make sure you're signed in to your Epic Games account and navigate your way to the left to MetaHumans. And here with you should only have MetaHuman presets, and then you could just pick one you like. I'll click on this MetaHuman. Yeah. On this MetaHuman. Oh, why is it? Oh, it's loading. Okay, and then if you want to customize it, we'll have to click on Start MHC, MetaHuman Creator. So we'll click that first, and it'll open up a tab. And I'll say loading, and it's loading onto the cloud. Another way to navigate your way through this site is actually, you Google it, but I'll provide the link. It's unrealengine.com/MetaHuman Creator. And then you would just click on launch the app. If you don't want to go through Quixel Bridge, you could just do it through the browser here. But it is easier to just do it through Bridge. And we'll let this load. It might take a minute or two. And now that it's the MetaHuman Creator is loaded, we'll actually go to Create MetaHuman. So you actually have to pick it from here, the presets. And we'll go back to that one character. And you'll notice a lot of them have these warnings. It's just because a lot of these are in early, they're still developing them. Some of them don't have them, but usually it should be okay. So we'll click on this character. We'll click next. And then usually you want it at LOD 0. That's the highest resolution. But if your computer is like lagging a bit, then maybe just drop the quality down a bit. But we'll leave it at LOD 0. If it's really dropping, if it's really slow, you would probably just want to turn this on here. And this is where we could customize it. I won't go into much depth into this, but first you want to do is stop it so that you could access all of these. And then one thing to mention is for blend. So what these are is you could click different faces, different characters. And once you have these three, let's say we clicked on the nose. So when I hold it, if I drag it up, it'll look more like the character on the top. And then so you could see that it's going a bit like this character's nose, that character's nose. And then you could spend hours doing this. If you want to go really detailed, you could just go to sculpt, and then you could see all these. You could just adjust it manually. And I'll just change the eyes. So you just scroll wheel and then just zoom in, and then there's a bunch of. There's teeth, makeup. There's a lot of customization, but I'll change the top as well, just so I know it's the custom one. I'll just change it this for now. And then so just to make sure that we know that we saved it, we'll just click on my on the top left, my MetaHuman. And then it's right here. And now it should be saved onto Quixel Bridge. Okay, now we have to direct the MetaHuman onto the specific folder. So we'll go to my MetaHuman, and so this is our character that we customized. And we'll have to navigate our way through this gear icon here. Go to Export Settings. Make sure this is Unreal Engine and 4.26. And then ignore this for now. So textures, I believe these are default, so just make sure it's default. Models, that should be default. You might have this at U asset plus source asset. You could do that if you want. I believe it's so that you can use it to customize it through Maya or Houdini. We'll just leave it at U asset. File names I don't touch, and then let's go back to the gear icon and download settings. And I believe these are all default, but if you want to just have it similar to mine. Oh, so on download settings, I have this one at U asset plus source asset. And so we could go back. Now let's go back to export settings. And this is where this will probably be different than mine. So I have my Unreal Engine downloaded on a second hard drive. So if I click this folder here, yours should be empty, but so for mine, it would be this PC, D drive, UE 4.26. And then most likely when you navigate your way through UE 4.26, it would be engine and then plugins. So just click plugins one time and click select folder and notice how it stays the same. If you don't have the plugin folder, you would have to create one. So I'll assume it's on the C drive, so we can go through it. So this PC, C drive, and it's most likely in your program files. And I created blank folders here just so it would be easier. So Epic Games, and then it might say builds, and you might have to click that, and then it'll say UE 4.26, or maybe once you click Epic Games, it'll be UE 4.26 here. So just make sure you look through this path, and this is most likely what you'll have. So 4.26, and then there's going to be other there should be other folders here, but just click on engine. I just created this blank one. And then there might be like content. I don't know. Yeah, there's content and some other folders, but you would want to click plugins. It's blank, but you want to click it once and then select folder. Let's say you didn't see this plugins folder. Okay, it's not letting me. There's some warnings, but okay, so let's say this wasn't here, the plugins. Just right click, click new, folder. Okay, we'll just click yes on that. There was a thing that said bridge allow. So we'll just we'll right click, create new folder, and then name it plugins. I'm not gonna do that because I have one. But okay, I'll name it plugins too, I guess. Okay, but so once you create plugins, just highlight it and click select folder. And I'm not gonna click on this, but notice the file path if you're having trouble finding it. And this is the default file path for downloading Unreal Engine. So if for some reason you can't find it, it might be hidden on a different hard drive, but most likely it's C drive, program files, Epic Games. There might be another folder that says builds and then 4.26, UE 4.26, but I'm not 100%. And then engine and then plugins. And then you have this. And once you have plugins, you select it and it'll have it all over here. And then for a default project, I like to leave it blank because once you have, so you still have the Unreal Engine open. As long as this is empty, it'll default into the project you have open. So leave that blank. And for this part on your screen, it should say something like download plugin or install plugin. Just click it. And once you click it, the most important step is you gotta restart. You gotta make sure you restart this. So just exit the Unreal project and navigate your way back into that specific recording MetaHuman. And then, so we'll just minimize that and have this load again. While that's loading, okay, there it goes. So see how it loads faster. So we'll minimize, actually, okay, now that we're here, we'll click on File, New Level, and we'll do time of day, just so it has the lighting. Actually, why does it? Oh, it was loading, okay. It's pretty dark in here. Hold, let me see if I could adjust it. Nope, that's not what I want. Okay, it's pretty dark. We'll just add a light. Okay, we'll just do this. No, I don't want that. We'll just add a light for now. It's fine. Or actually, just do that. The lighting will be a bit weird, but it's okay. And now that we have, we'll just restart it. We'll just do this level, actually, just make it blank. And so now that we have this level here, let's just move away from it. Okay, so now that we have this, you're gonna want to download it. So just go back here and just click 8K resolution and click download. And it will start to generate, and this is generating through the cloud. And it might take a bit, 10, 15 minutes, depending on your internet. So if you go on the top right, it has a percentage here. You could, well, I don't think you could pause it, but yeah, so just let it load. Just let it load for a bit. Okay, mine has finished downloading. It took just over 10 minutes. And so you'll notice it'll have a blue check mark. And it'll say downloaded here. And now we'll export it, but so just make sure you have this open here. So we'll just, actually we'll go like this. We'll do this. And so now you click export. Okay, so it says export here, and let me just open that back up. Okay, now you notice here, it's importing, and most likely it'll be like mine, where it's just like blinking for a bit, but we'll just let that sit. And then once it's going through its process, it will have a couple messages. It'll look like warnings or error messages, but it's actually just asking you to enable them. So if you see any like random pop-ups, don't worry about it. And I will let this load for a bit. Okay, so these were the error messages they're not error messages, but they're just missing plugins. And usually I would have this maximized, but that's okay. So you would want to click enable missing. Oh, mine's a bit frozen. Okay, I will probably have to, okay, there we go. Okay, enable missing, enable missing, enable missing. There should be about 3. And then this is compiling shader. Let me just maximize this now. And this will be compiling shaders. So you would want, you're going to have to restart it. And this says changes detected. We'll just I'll just leave this here for now. I want to make sure that this compile shaders are at 0, and then I'll restart it. But to be honest, we could probably just click restart now. But personally, I just like to make sure that this is at 0, just so I know everything is loading correctly. So I'll come back when it's done. Now that the shaders are compiled, we're just going to click restart. And we'll let that restart, hopefully. Doesn't seem like it restarted. Oh, there we go. So it's restarting. So I'll let that load. I'll pause the recording here. Okay, now that it opened back up, it's gonna have a bunch of more shaders, and we'll let that load. Now that the shaders is finished, I actually just clicked on import where it has the changes, and I'll let that load. It's probably just it's loading the MetaHuman textures, and hopefully it won't take too long. Yeah, it might take a bit, so I'll pause it again. Okay, it actually didn't take that long. So now that we're here, go to make sure you're in content. You might be, yeah, just make sure it's on content on the content. Oops. On the, I guess I can't zoom in. On content browser, content. Let me just drag this back. Actually, zoom in, I guess. And then there should be MetaHumans. Click that one. And Bernice, which was the character that we customized. And let me just zoom out. And then here, BP Bernice. And actually that blank level is, well, we could just drag it in here actually. And it will load another time. So there's a lot of loading. And when you drag it, it might seem like it freezed, but it's just the way Unreal Engine has it load. And I'm not too sure how long this would take. So yeah, on the first time you're importing a new MetaHuman, it does take a while. And I'll probably pause it again here. Oh. We'll see how long it takes. I'll pause it here just to keep the recording short. Now that it finished loading, it's actually compiling shaders again, so we'll just make sure that loads. Okay, now that it's done compiling, it actually didn't go onto the scene. It was probably just compiling the blueprints and all that. So now that it's here, it actually loaded the viewport. So we could drag it. Oh, I don't know why I did that. Okay, now it's here. And notice, let me rotate it actually. Notice that when I zoom out, the hair disappears. That's because when it zooms out, okay, so one thing to notice is on the top right here is the camera speed. So if it's too fast for you, just click it and then do 2. So when you zoom out, it actually lowers the resolution of the MetaHuman. And for video games, it makes sense that it would do that. But for film, you probably would want it at a certain quality. So to fix that, just click to, so you would want to, so that's the LOD, the level of detail. So you just want to force it to be on the highest one. And so just click on the MetaHuman. And it might be hidden, but it's on details here. And then it's actually here, but it's kind of like hidden in here. You want to like drag this. So you notice here, you got to drag it a bit. So on top of transform, drag this down. And the easiest way to access it is LOD sync. And let me just drag this back up. Actually, I could put this up here actually. Ignore this part. Look at it. LOD sync. Okay, so here you scroll down to LOD sync. And it'll be here, and then force LODs. Just you actually put it at 1. I think 0 doesn't really work. But I just put it at 1. Okay, put it at 1, and now if I zoom out, the hair shouldn't. Let me just increase the speed again. The hair shouldn't be disappearing, so it's always at the highest. And the textures might just be a bit like noisy, like a bit fuzzy. It's just the way it's rendering right now. But that's fine. So we'll just put this back to 2. So that's a tip there, the LODs. And if you're in when you have the MetaHuman, it's like if the frames are dropping, it's very slow and laggy. A tip to do is if you go on, where is it? Settings and engine scalability. Okay, so right now it's at epic. You could put it at cinematic. Small difference there. Let me go back. Where was it? Settings, engine scalability. So you go on low, so you could see the difference between So if it's really slow, just put it at low, and it is compelling at a low texture. And then you have the MetaHuman. And then if you want to just play around with the programming, double click the blueprint and you could play around with these, but I'll just exit. And then if you want to just add certain cameras, let me just put this back to cinematic, I guess. My placement might be a little bit different than yours, but it's about the same. So we could put like a point light. I don't know, over there maybe. And if you wanted to add a camera, just add a cinematic camera actor here. Then I'll have the going through the body actually. So we could have it. What you could do, an easier way is to actually just right click the camera and pilot it. So now you could have it, I don't know, like that. I don't like how the writing's in the background, but that's fine. I'll just leave it here. And then the reason why it's out of focus is you want to change this stuff. I'm not like an expert in, but you could probably increase the aperture. I guess that's fine. There's a bunch more like settings here, bloom, exposure. You could probably do lens flares, like bokeh effects. It could get pretty complicated here. There's a bunch of just film features in here. And so yeah, that's pretty much how you import a MetaHuman.